time ago, the Minecraft community was extremely stale. We lived in a land of Sky Wars and terrible content and yeah, whatever the hell Minecraft Monday was. However, since then we have evolved. Now a new type of Minecraft servers came out and it's called the Geopols. Now Geopols are very, very cool. Except for the fact they're not very cool. And one of the major contributing factors of these Geopol servers is that you get to play the historical wars and you pretty much get to recreate historical wars you're interested in historical time periods you're interested in. Now, among these servers, Crusalis is probably one of the biggest ones, you know, and it runs these iterations, which is basically the equivalent of a Fortnite season, but it's in a block game. There's guns and stuff. There's territory claims. It's a pretty cool time. Now, having such a large community, obviously the server is going to have a pretty cool staff team. And among all of the staff members, one of the major staff members is Oreotrollturbo, a man who I know absolutely nothing about. You know, I've never met this guy in my life. But I will have you know, he seems to be a man shrouded in illusion and mystery. So let's talk about him. From what I figured out, he's somewhere located within Greece and Spain, which I think are two pretty cool countries. You know, the Spanish, they have paellas. It's that one language I was forced to learn in school, and I think it's a very, very cool thing to be able to know that he's from that place. He was also from Greece, a place specializing in yogurt and why I forgot what the other thing was. The thing's pronounced euro, but they have a G in them. Gyro, I think. Greek people, please don't come after me. Now, anyways, speaking of which, his name is quite an interesting play on Oreos, the famous biscuit, Troll, like the troll face, and Turbo, which is a mode most gaming laptops have, in which they start to overheat and crumble. Now, an interesting thing to note about Oreo is that he's 18, which means, yes, it's completely legal. You guys know what I'm on about. So, I think what we're seeing is quite an interesting character that he's built up. Another important thing to note is his profile picture on all of his social media is a weird stickman guy. I don't know much about the stickman guy. However, after doing some research, I found that it was a man named Charles. Now, this could be Oreo's real name, we don't know. However, what I was able to find was footage about something called his greatest plan. I don't know what this could be referencing or what the meaning behind this could be. However, I do find it very interesting that he hides himself behind this online persona. He also seems to be very involved with helicopters and vehicles, maybe alluding to the fact that as his job as a Crusalis developer, he has worked on vehicles in the past. Now, Crusalis is a massive server, they have lots of plugins, and they use these plugins to make very cool tanks, guns, etc. You can imagine the whole list of things. The people who have played the server would know. So yeah, they would know what the server's about and all of that. Now, I think an important thing to note about the entire experience is that the Crusalis server very much finds itself with a strong staff team. Something you'll notice from them is that they never do anything even slightly wrong. They are always very just and humble human beings, and I think Oreo really upholds himself to these standards. He's kind of known as a man of the people. Now, one of his major contributions to the community is the mod he created known as Crusalis utils, having several hundred downloads currently, and it's probably going to go up, let's be realistic. Um, his mod is very infamous for helping the Crusalis community play the server. It has awesome features like those Fortnite pings for all of the Fortnite players who moved over to Crusalis, and it also has some other stuff to prevent things like backcapping, and it's a very cool mod. Now, unfortunately, the Crusalis moderators have been repeatedly trying to nerf it to oblivion, so we're going to see how that goes. However, it is one of his worthy contributions. Now, recently he closed the source, and although there's many speculations about why, I have actually managed to uncover the truth in a private interview with him, which we're going to go into the interview later on in the video. However, some important things to note is that he has disclosed that due to it going closed source, he has actually began including malware in the file. So be careful, guys. You know, keep your computer safe. Now, some more things to know are just the actual functions of the mod. I think overall a lot of the mod's features have recently been disabled, and it's very interesting to look at because um the actual mod itself is a very, very cool mod. It's an amazing mod. It's a very, very useful mod. I'm going to put the link in the description. It's a great mod. You should totally use it. However, the existence of the mod, Crusalis utils, suggests that the server could maybe force players to use Crusalis utils, which is very much not the case. You know, you can very much have a fun experience without the mod. However, the mod has started to make itself pretty much a necessity, which I don't think the mods of Crusalis are a big fan of. They want to make sure that you can play the server without needing tons of mods. So yeah, that's just something to consider. A lot of stuff going on is just that the Crusalis staff team has a lot of plans going on behind the server, and Oreo is fortunately in a lot of them. He's working on a lot of stuff, and we will go into the one-on-one interview where we're going to find out a lot more details about what he's working on. However, I think it's just important to know who he is as a character. You know, Oreotrollturbo is a great Crusalis developer. However, he is shrouded in several mysteries. Now, we're going to talk about the rumors that recently came up. Now, there were rumors about him simping over a woman and giving the woman operator on the server, and then him having his moderator privileges taken off his operator on the server. Now, after a short talk with the man I have never met before, I have found out the truth. It's entirely true. He totally gave that woman operator. An important thing to know about, obviously, Oreo and who he is as a person is that he's been active for quite some time. He's been working on the Crusalis scene for quite a long time. And what this means is that he's had a lot of work put into the server. He's worked on a lot of the plugins. He knows Crusalis quite deeply. And knowing Crusalis quite deeply means that he's just at a really big advantage. Because he's got experience on the scene. He's really one of the only people who can make such advanced and useful mods, and you know, that is an important thing to consider. I died so many times that game, and I'm having difficulties believing I still managed to like not lose the game. Oh, Bo is a man shrouded in mystery. People don't know much about him. He's quite mysterious with his involvement in Crusalis. However, it's very, very interesting to see how far he has came so far. Very, very interesting. So, some important things to note is that I've also managed to secure a one-on-one interview. That's going to be later on in the video, and it's you know, it's going to be interesting meeting with a guy who I have never ever met before and being able to talk things through with him. You know, I heard he was in need of a video editor, so I'm sure no one is filling that role right now. Hello everyone, welcome to the Crusalis interview with Oreotrollturbo. I brought his biggest fan, Alex. There have been no cuts due to Oreo saying anything unacceptable. And now we are going to talk with Oreotrollturbo about what he's done. So, first of all, I've got some fan questions later on, but we're going to start out with Oreo. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
That is really good. Would you like to talk about some of the projects you've worked on?
Excuse me?
Some of the projects you've worked on, like, you know.
I've made Crusalis utils. I've helped with vehicles, and I've made a bunch of like smaller additions to Crusalis.
So-
But like outside of Crusalis, I'm modding Rumble, which is a VR game, and that's about it.
So, would you like to explain to the audience what Crusalis Utils is, what it does? What is a Crusalis?
What is a Crusalis? I wonder. Crusalis is the hit Minecraft server that hosts geopolitical conflicts on the block game known as Minecraft.
So, what is Crusalis Utils? And are they
Uh,
cool for my family?
it's a mod that gives you basically hacks but legal. Never mind, Ringo banned them, so it gives you hacks that are illegal, basically.
We have more questions from the fans. Alex, would you like to ask away your question? Question.
Are you gay?
Yes. Next question.
Oh, well.
Next question. Oh, the other question was, are you gay? Next question. Who the fuck wrote "Are you gay" 10 times?
What?
Yes,
we have
yes,
any-
yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Any other
Next
questions?
question. What are your plans with Crusalis Utils?
Uh, I mean, I recently close sourced it because of reasons that I'm not gonna get into. Because people were gonna make Crusalis
Venting
cheats.
malware.
So, like, my plan right now is a Trojan with like multi-malware injection, kind of remote code execution,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So I was looking into your profile for this whole video, and I saw something. It said this is the greatest play. It's something about a helicopter. Would you like to explain what that is?
If you know, you know.
And I think this is going to be the last question. What's the best nation on Crusalis? What's the best one?
Oh, I honestly think all of them suck, but if I had to pick one that sucks the least, it would have to be Norway.
There you have it, folks. Oreotrollturbo, and a individual defined by his disillusion, his high levels of skill, and his ability to code Crusalis plugins. Now, he is very, very infamous in the community for what he does. He's quite an icon, I'm going to be honest. However, something we do need to know is that, well, despite a lot of the work he has done, he is still just a Crusalis moderator, and I do find his work to be quite cool. Very, very interesting. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Goodbye, people.